This is on me to make sure that I can conclude this in like few seconds, because that would be the time that was prescribed. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do that, and so you'll have to bear me for a little bit of time. The fact remains is that he or she who owns the data will be the king or queen of this world. This is what Larry Ellison said, Savita, long time back. The fact remains is that this is an absolutely unique opportunity for India to trigger its growth into the new generation. I don't want to here sit down and pass a judgment whether UID is right thing. It's absolutely right thing. I think all of you who ushered into the room, added more lines, are convinced that they're the right people who are dealing with this project, and this project should be successful, is for our good. But let's elevate ourselves beyond this UID project. Because what UID does for us is fundamentally gives us a business opportunity to prosper in the digital world. And when we deal with the digital world, the underlying theme is trust. If we can't trust, the whole economy will start collapsing, and we can't afford that. The question is, how many of you are aware that very opportunity is a threat by itself? Since you are sitting in this room, in about 4 minutes, I want to go through what is the evolved threat landscape in front of you. And this is just a beginning. I would sincerely urge you to keep yourself abreast. Just like in physical world, you know through discipline how to trust people. In the digital world, is extremely important that you start trusting based on your awareness level. Now, there are 3 kinds of areas where you can have breach of information or breach of data. The number one, which all of you are aware about, is the criminals, the hackers, the underworld. Call them with whatever name, but they're very, very capable of stealing your information. Most organization, UID for sure, has making appropriate steps to ensure that the outside world will find it more and more difficult to attack your information. However, there are 2 other factors which can steal your information, and these are legitimate people. There are people within your organization, there are people within your state, there are people within your country. They are very much you and I. They are the well-wishers, and they are people with the malintent. The well-wishers are the guys who make stupid mistakes. Give you an example. In India itself, I was called in the other day. There were credit card information getting printed on the boarding pass. It should have had frequent flyer number there. What had happened was that this airlines was upgrading its ERP system, and when they were upgrading their ERP system, the field, instead of reflecting the frequent flyer number, put the credit card number, and there were over 67,000 credit cards that had already got printed before they realized that it was an error on their part. Now think about this. This is something that we end up doing on daily basis. We leave the USB drives, and Shrikant, you said that, hey, I can go to the post office and leave those drives, and I'm sure you thought about encryption, and you decided that, hey, I will make a foolproof environment so that it doesn't happen, but there are people involved. There are people involved. This next one is really the vindictive guys. The guys who are going through the trauma of time, who have decided to take action against us. We've gone through an economic challenging time. People have decided that, hey, let me walk away from this organization or from this setup because I was asked to go and I'm going to teach them a lesson. When they go off, they take the data. The studies are showing 60% of confidential or sensitive data is taken by the vindictive people. So you have criminals from outside and you have insiders. Now let's talk about the anatomy of how the breach happens, and that's going to take about a couple of minutes very quickly. How the anatomy really works is this very, very evolved criminal organizations approach how to steal your data in more personified way, more developed way than the software is being developed. Why do I make that statement? Symantec is a corporation that is in business of helping you safeguard yourself against malware. We are coming to a conclusion that the bad software that was developed last year is overtaking the good software. We wrote close to 3 million signatures last year, which is more than what we've written in 17 years of our own history. If the bad software is exceeding the good software, the inflection points have changed. So that's the capacity they have. The way they deal is that gone are the days of hackers. These are guys who are as an organization. These are the guys who are sitting together and working out methodologies. Have you heard about the Hydrack attack? How many of you have heard about the Hydrack attack? This attack happened on 20 top software companies in the world. It happened about 3 months back. I'll take the example of Hydrack and I'll explain to you what are the different steps they do. The first step they deploy is inclusion. Inclusion is a simple aspect where they only want to enter your organization. Now UID will be safeguarded. UID has the right technology, UID has the right people, but there are going to be businesses that are going to be developed which will be extended supply chain. When this extended supply chain develop, if you do not devote time how to protect yourself, these guys will keep poking holes into your system to find out where the vulnerability is. Hydrack did it through instant messaging and social engineering. They went to the highest most individual of these companies and wrote a mail to them saying that I so-and-so as a managing director of the company want this from you. And people treated that with absolute faith and responded, and they entered the vulnerabilities into the system. Once they have got into your system, they discover your network. They want to find that in your network, where are the weaknesses? For example, you might suddenly find that, hey, somebody is now suddenly asking for a lot of information which shouldn't have been there. Why is the network going up? What Hydrack did was that they actually waited for the ERP, which was in quality assurance, to actually go out on the 10th day when the QA system was being used to test the live data, which was unsecured. They actually started compromising the system. It just took them 10 days. So here are the world's top 20 IT companies who have their source code resident there. These are top companies, inclusive of us, who have security at the backbone of it. And here is a discovery that is happening on a quality assurance machine. Once they're discovered, they want to capture that information. They're not in any hurry to move it, but in Hydrack case, they actually use the very firewall system to take out that information. So they got ready, they collapsed the information, they got ready to take it out, but they didn't exfiltrate that information yet, because they knew that if they did it at this time, they will be caught. And during the exfiltration period of time, the firewall port that was used to actually protect the system, which was lying idle, was used to take out that information. And here is organized crime. Baton shifts, people move, and this is how they deal with it. And I'm telling you something what I'm seeing here. You are sitting at a period of time when this is the first step into the digital economy. The next 10 years is going to define differently, and if Guru was to be taken, the next 60 years is going to be absolutely different. How well are you aware that trust is paramount in digital economy? How well are you educating yourself that what you need to do? All of us are extremely glad moment our child comes from school, second standard, third standard, goes onto the net and says, hey, my child is wonderful, he understands computers extremely well. But none of us ever sit down to tell that child that, hey, here are the precautions you should take. You shouldn't be sitting in front of the computer too long, because when you will complain of headache, it's your eyes which are getting dried up, and it's not because of your eyes are getting weaker. It's just the dryness of your eyes which is giving you headache. That's what we need to learn. So what I as a salesperson can talk for about a few hours over this, but in the interest of your time and the fact that you have a microphone closer to your face, I'm going to leave you with a thought. Let's get aware. This is our moment of truth. This project will be successful, but are you going to be a participant towards the success, and can we build the trust in a connected world? I'll leave you with that thought. Thank you very much.